Hello everyone, I'm Susan, I'm the grand old age of 37. Thank you. I write theatre for adults and young people. I had a previous career as a legal secretary for 12 years, as you can tell by the fact I've done PowerPoint presentation. It wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I began to actually have the confidence to take my writing seriously. And that's why I'm introducing this topic today. I'm here to represent the late bloomer. As you can see, I wasn't a very good secretary. I also would like to start with a quote from Lynn Gardner, the theatre critic and blogger from The Guardian. "Such is the proliferation of new writing schemes, hungry like monsters, that need to be fed with ever younger talent to justify their own existence. We need a change of culture so that age isn't automatically a label and experience is valued rather more than it is now." So that, again, very neatly sums up the point I'd like to make. Yay! Getting the hang of it. So obviously, I'd just like it to make it really clear that I am very, very supportive of development schemes for and support for young emerging artists. Obviously, it's vital. As we're all here to talk about artist development, we know how important that is. So I do want to say I'm 100% in favour of youth schemes. And we can see that they're very successful. Perhaps the Royal Court is one of the best examples there that runs a very successful Young Writers programme. These are amongst the playwrights' careers that it's launched from the Young Writers programme. So we can see how beneficial they are. But it's not just young people under the age of 25 or under the age of 26 who need that nurturing and that support. There are obviously, older writers like me. And development schemes are largely non-existent for those who fall outside of the youth bracket. Now, basically, if you go to any theatre website in the UK, you'll see that they run schemes for young people and they encourage young people to get involved in the theatre. And there are a couple of sort of schemes for over 26s, but they're very disproportionate to the amount of schemes that are offered to young people, which are very widely offered. So that has to lead us to ask the question, are there some voices being lost here? Which leads us on to the next question about marginalisation in the arts, a very heavy question. The loss of the funding cuts, meaning the loss of literary departments in particular and literary resources, hits older writers particularly hard because it's often their first and only point of contact with theatre is to send an unsolicited script. There's lots of different funding categories, and theatre accountability is another big issue where theatres feel they have to sort of tick a box and justify how they're allocating their funding as well. And that obviously means that there are large funding black holes. So what can be done to help to set this straight? Well, obviously, the ideal dream scenario is to increase funding and literary resources, and we all know that's a bit of a utopian dream. So perhaps the most practical thing that theatres could do to help at the moment would be to consider removing age criteria from development and support schemes. And just to finish, I'd just like to present this quote from Max Stafford Clark, who says, "Let's strive less for the zeitgeist and endeavour to support writers of all ages and sexes because they happen to be talented, so not because they're just the next youngest, trendiest thing." Thank you.